Earlier this year, audiences both in person and virtual bore witness to two incredible events, the Muppet Script and the Scripted Muppet Caper, star-studded live recordings of the Muppet movie and the Great Muppet Caper scripts. On Friday, October 24th, they'll be doing it again with the Muppets Take Scripthattan, this time in New York City. To celebrate this event and to encourage you to buy tickets to the live stream, we'll be chatting with some of the stars of the show in this special podcast miniseries brought to you by toughpigs.com. I am your host, Joe Hennis. Joining me is the producer and director of the show and an old friend of Tough Pigs. It's Matt Wilkie. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Joe. Hello, Tough Pigs. So happy to be back.
Glad you're here. Wouldn't be the same without you. But today on the podcast, we are delighted to bring back two return guests. First up, he is perhaps the biggest Muppet fan on Broadway, having starred in shows like Hamilton and Spamalot and as the genie in Aladdin. In the Muppets Take Scripthattan, he's Dr. Teeth. It's James Monroe Iglehart. Hello, James.
Hi. What's up? Hi, Tough Pigs. Yes, I'm very excited about this.
Oh, so glad to have you back. Also joining us is one of my favorite drag queens from RuPaul's Drag Race and perhaps the most perfect human to be reprising her role as Miss Piggy for the Muppets Take Scripthattan. It's Nina West. Hello.
Yay! Tough Pigs, Suey. Suey.
That feels like a slur for against pigs. Is that? I don't know. Maybe not.
Oh no.
Is that? Should we be saying that?
Okay. I do. Not to jump in too quickly. I do wonder about that because in the Muppets Take Manhattan, one of my favorite scenes is when Kermit's mind is still not there, and Miss Piggy tries to revive him, and he says, "Oh, the sounds of love, Zooey," and she says, "Call off the show," and just chops him. So I was like, I'm wondering if it's a slur because she damn near beat the hell out of him just for that one moment.
Yeah, that kind of pushes her over the edge a little bit.
It's literally one of my favorite moments of the whole movie.
We're gonna see you guys recreate it with the Muppets Take Scripthattan pretty soon. That's gonna be exciting. We'll see how that goes. And maybe Nina, this will give you a little bit of inspiration for how to play the scene.
Oh, good. I think that's what exactly we're going to need right
now. So as I said, we have interviewed both of you here on this podcast channel. You might say we're together again. See what I did there?
Well played.
Thank you. So Nina, we were here with you just a few months ago. We interviewed you for the scripted Muppet Caper, which was a joy to get to geek out about Drag Race and about all of your inspirations for Miss Piggy. There's so much more. If you want to hear more about Nina playing this role, please go listen to that episode. And James, you were one of the first podcast interviews we did on this channel back when we did 15 Seconds to Curtain, where we were interviewing notable Muppet fans. We recorded that in person in 2020, like right before everything went down.
Right.
Right?
I remember that.
Yeah, which was amazing. We were backstage at Hamilton, which is no big deal.
Yeah, we were like, life will be fine. I had no idea what was
knew
about
nothing.
to happen. No.
Did we cause this? Did we break reality with our podcast?
No. It's the fact that there are enough Muppet fans, and that's what caused the problem.
Right. Okay. So we're actually healing the world through this podcast now.
We are healing the world with this. Yes, that's what we're doing. We are bringing joy. We are bringing Muppeticity to the world from California all the way to New York City, and that is what's going to heal this craziness that's going on right now.
I love that. Coast to coast. Yeah.
Yes.
That's the plot of the Muppet movie, actually.
Exactly.
Coast to coast, bringing
Coast
Muppet
to
love to the
coast,
world.
baby. Yes.
So, James and Nina, have the two of you ever worked together before? Is this gonna be the first time you're sharing a stage?
It's not the first time we've been in the same space.
Mm-hmm.
We've been in the same space. And I know that I ran up to her because I lost my mind because she actually got to sing with the Muppets. And to this day, that is like my dream is to sing with the Electric Mayhem. So I was like, I have to talk to Nina. And we talked to Spamalot, didn't we? We talked to Spamalot.
Which is crazy. Yeah. So I came back at Spamalot and he had just walked off stage. I mean, literally, James had walked off stage and was just like, I have to talk to you. This man whose talent knows no bounds, this man who is incredible and amazing and has done so much for the Broadway community and so much for for so many of us, and to be a fan of his work, and then him like I was just gonna like pop around and maybe like hope that he saw me so I could be like, I just want to say I really appreciate your work. Just have a quiet moment. And he turned and looked at me and said, "You." And I was
I was
like,
like,
"What?"
no, oh my God.
And, we had I think we had like conversed on
Yeah,
Instagram and like shared our our mutual Muppet love for together,
yeah,
and all things Disney, right? Like we have like a lot of similar things that we really love, and
yeah.
so it was really cool to actually share space with
Yeah.
him. More excited that we actually are going to be on stage together.
I am
So
so excited about that. It's I was a fan of this whole project when it first came out, because you guys were doing it in California, and so I was seeing it online and literally just having FOMO like so bad. And so I was telling my wife, like, look at this. She was like, honey, it's in California. I'm like, I know. Like, and I was loving the fact that Nina was playing Miss Piggy. I was like, well, duh, of course. That's why. Yes, it must be
excuse me.
that way. I'm like, I think Frank Oz would have just said, yes, please do this. It's like, it was so cool. So when I saw her there, I was like, oh yeah, I have to talk to her. And I told her, I said, I love all your other work. I said, but we have to talk Muppets.
Yeah. And I find that it's like the greatest kind of like wonderful like conversation starter because it allowed us to geek out
Yeah,
on a lot of things we loved in that
yeah,
moment. Yeah.
it was great.
James, do you do that to everybody? Like, like, does your brain just go like, okay, here's their Muppet connection. That's the first thing I want to ask them is like, tell me about that time you worked with
If
Muppets.
they have some sort of nerd connection with me, I must talk to them about that. I have gone up to other artists and they have done some amazing, incredible, serious, dramatic work. And I've gone up to them and go, "Oh my God, you were in Scooby Doo!" And they're like, "That's what you remember me from?" I'm like, "Yes, you were in the Chipmunks!" And they're like, "Oh my God!" So that side of my brain is way more powerful than the, oh, I did something dramatic and got an Oscar. I'm like, yeah, that's great. Everybody can do that. You worked with real characters. So I run to them and talk to them about that.
I do the same thing when I run into people on the street like that, and because I figure like you're probably so sick and tired of being asked about the same thing over and over and over again, and it's like I'm gonna find that thing that I think that you're actually really proud of, and usually it's Muppets,
Yeah.
but even if it's not,
And also, there is something special about working with the Muppets. There is something that kind of puts you in a different group. There's a different type of acting you have to do. You literally have to say, no matter what happens, it's a yes and moment and it's a belief moment. It's so easy to, I mean, I shouldn't call it easy because what we do is not easy, but to look at a regular person and have a connection. But when you can let that childlike imagination happen to you when you're around the Muppets, that's acting to me. When I watch the Muppet Show, and there are certain actors on the Muppet Show on all their 5 seasons that just get it. Like the Liza Minnelli episode,
Good.
she is in it. She's not acting with a Muppet. She's acting, period. It could be, and it's so good. It's so good. There are a couple of actors and I felt the same way when I saw Nina. When I saw Nina, I think it was Disney World or Disneyland where you were singing with them. I was like, nah, she's in it. That my love just grew. I was like, yep, she gets it. Because I remember, I know they're technically not Muppets, but when I got to, sing with Elmo or talk to Cookie Monster or stuff like that, I was like, I was
Dude,
there. I
it's
was
the
like,
same thing. I mean, it's the same thing. It's so epic because these
yes,
characters they're far greater, right? They exist in a kind of on a plane and on a level that is almost mystical and magical and unattainable, right? To me, that's
yes,
how it feels, right? That's like because there's only one like a good someone put it to me this way. That's like, okay, you can go to the park and you see like if you go to Walt Disney World or Disneyland, or you can see Mickey Mouse exist on in an animated form. You can see him exist as Sorcerer Mickey. You can see him exist as a Steamboat Willie, maybe in Fantasmic, right? You get to see a variety of how Mickey exists.
yes.
There's only one Kermit. There's only one Miss Piggy, and they
Very true.
exist in our world in the same way,
Yeah,
right? They don't exist drawn on a page. They exist in their wonderful, fabulous, puppety muppety
yeah,
selves. And and that's what I think is the magic of it, is that you get when you see them in person, whether it is Elmo or Cookie Monster or Swedish Chef or Rolf, when you see them in reality, you're just like, wait a minute, this is all very. You look exactly like you looked when I was first saw this show, uh, you know, in syndication when I saw the Muppet Show for the first time. You look
And they're
exactly
time
like
and they're
yeah,
timeless. They're timeless.
timeless. Yeah.
I think what makes them so wonderful is um, we lose some of our legends. We lose some of our legends. These characters we don't lose. Their personality, their spirit, their magic stays alive for generations to come. So when you see them, there's always some form of nostalgia from whatever generation is looking at them. And that's what makes them so cool. And their personalities are just who they are. You want to hang around Ralph because you're waiting for the one-liners. You want to hang around with Miss Piggy because you wish you could be that glamorous and conceited. And there's a special spirit about Kermit that just every performer wants that. Every performer wants that type of spirit when they perform, and so I will always be a fan.
I heard an interview. I can't remember which of Mickey Mouse's voices it was, but it was one of the more modern Mickey Mouse performers, and he was talking about how he sees himself as a caretaker for this character. He is not Mickey Mouse. He is Mickey for
Yes.
now, for this, and someday he will pass Mickey along to someone else. And I feel like a lot of fans are still kind of grasping at that idea. Or grappling with that idea with the Muppets because it really only has been the last 30 years that we've had to even deal with that idea that they're I mean
Yeah.
like for a lot of people listening to this, Jim Henson's been gone for their entire lives, but even now we're seeing characters pass hands, and rather than see it as something that waters the characters down, we can see it as, no, we're passing the torch, and 10-20 years from now they're going to pass that torch again, and when I'm old and gray and like on my deathbed, I'm still gonna get to watch new Muppet stuff, and there's a delight
Yeah.
in that.
That's the only, not a negative, but that's the only critique I would say about Muppet fans. Other, there are comic book genres the same way. They get all mad when somebody switches characters, and I'm like, guys, it's the characters. Let the characters live. As long as the characters are alive, that's what matters. As long as the characters are there, that's what matters. Let the torch be passed, and it's okay. It's okay. You know.
So
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
who do you think will play the next Nina West? Because this is
I'm
another
not gonna
character.
answer.
Thank you.
I'm not gonna answer for Nina, but I will say there will never be another Nina West.
Thank
Ooh.
you.
Okay?
Good answer. Good
That's
answer.
there will be people that want to pay homage. There are people who want to say,
Ooh.
I'd like to be like, but there
Oh,
is only one Nina West. There won't be any passing of the torch.
thank, thank the world for that. Thank the world for
So
that.
speaking of taking these characters on in new iterations, Nina, how has playing Miss Piggy, now you played Miss Piggy twice, how has playing this character
Mhm.
changed your life? Like, has it changed? Like, are you more aggressive now? Or like, are you accosted
Uh,
by Muppet fans on the street? Aside from James?
it's interesting. Yeah, it's it's interesting, and I think Matt, yeah, Matt can might be also be able to speak to this a little bit. It's when we started doing this, it was for charity, and I was just thrilled that you hadn't even thought of me. And then it's kind of become this weird little subcultural following that has kind of, I think, kind of grown from these live in person at Dynasty Typewriter or streaming that people have been able to catch. And it, I mean, I think, I'm really forward with, kind of my fandoms. Like, people, I think, really know that about me. I was really forward with it when I was on the show, and I talk about it a lot in interviews, and I like really seek out to do, more niche podcasting because I think, it allows me to actually just be more of myself and not like have to be like, oh yeah, we're going to talk about the kind of the same five questions you get, like, what are you doing now? And what's it like to do this project, and what's next, right? All those kind of gratuitous questions. And so um, this has provided me an opportunity, I think, to be more myself in a crazy way, right? More heart on my sleeve, piggy on my shoulder, kind of like walking into the world, which has actually surprisingly opened a lot of other doors, and allowed people, especially, I have friends at the Muppet Studios and friends at Disney, right? And I've done a lot of work with them, but I think they see me as I think more of a viable talent that is really is a fan who wants to be a caretaker as well, right? A fan who wants to, um, as you said, and as James, said, like someone who wants to kind of like be a protector of not a gatekeeper, but just a protector of something. Someone they just say, yeah, I want to usher this to its next stage, and I want to see that it goes on. Just like you said, I want to be able to see who's going to do these things and make sure that these things continue to exist. And someone who's 5 years old when they turn on that TV or whatever, their phone or their device, however they consume the content, long after I'm gone, that they have the ability to be like have that connection with a Gonzo or a Fozzie or be like, yeah. So it's weird how the impact of it, because it's like I'm just doing a voice. I'm just up there having a lot of fun. But it allows people to like I think reconnect with the magic that Henson made all those years ago and what it means.
I just want to jump in and say it's not just a voice though. Like as much as even like we talk about the Muppet performers and how much we say, well, it's not just a voice. When you're on stage, you are Miss Piggy. You embody her. You have the costume, the wig, the nose, which is nothing I asked for, by the way. I was very much like, Nina, this is your interpretation, whatever you want to do with it. And she showed up with a big old oinker on her nose. And I said, great. This is someone who is totally into it. And every time you're on Miss Piggy, you are Miss Piggy. There is no denying it. So it's so much more than just you putting on a voice. You really do embody it. And I feel like that's something that every actor that we have on this show does. They really dig in, they do the work, and they say, I'm not doing an impression. I am doing this character, my interpretation of this character, and I'm just going to go whole hog. And Miss
I see
Piggy
what you
goes
did
whole
there.
hog. So-
No, I like what you said about like the idea of Miss Piggy making you a more confident performer, and it makes me
Mhm.
think of the era of like toward the end of Frank Oz's performances as Miss Piggy into the 90s, when he knew that he could have Miss Piggy go onto a talk show and do literally anything, and like he could just completely cut loose. If anyone listening to this hasn't seen like Miss Piggy with Martha Stewart, like those kinds of clips where like just a normal human being wouldn't be able to do this and still be invited back next time. But Frank could do it and Miss Piggy could do it. And I feel like having a little bit of that inside of us to be able to say like, no, I could just say the thing. I'm just going to be like quintessentially me and not afraid to say what's on my mind. Because when Frank did it, and when Miss Piggy did it, it came out as comedy gold. Like there's a reason we're still talking about a weird Martha Stewart appearance. Uh, so James, how did you
Yeah.
get involved with this show?
I was contacted by this great guy from this website called Pigs and said that they were looking for me. They knew I was a Muppet fan and wanted to know, was I interested in this? And I said, yes. Oh my gosh, yes. I was sitting next to my wife with my iPad, and my wife had just told me, "You're doing too much. I need you at home." And then this email came up, and she looks over and she goes, "Does that say Muppet?" And I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Oh God, just say yes. I don't even want to argue with you." And I was like, "You're right. There's no argument here." And, and then Matt got in touch with me, and I was like, "Yes, please." And I remember there was an idea of who I could play, and I politely wrote back and said, "Do you mind if I play Dr. T?" Because I knew I had seen that there was already a cast. And I have many of my Muppet favorites. I knew there was a cast, but I didn't know if anybody was playing these two parts. And I asked, could I play Dr. Teeth? And also my other favorite part of the show, of the movie, I should say, is the Gregory Hines scene when they're running. And so I asked, could I do a dual role of those? And I was told by Matt, thank you, that he said yes. And so I'm going to be Dr. Teeth because I love that song, because that song has stayed with me through my career. I mean, I would play it like when the going got tough. I would say, you can't take no for an answer. You can't take no for an answer. And to think, I heard that song when I was a kid and I wanted to be a performer. And I just went back and I was like, between Can You Picture That which is my favorite Muppet tune ever. And you can't, you can't take no for an answer. I was like, that's my life. That is my Broadway journey. And there's something about another Broadway legend, Gregory Hines, in that scene. And I was like, okay, I want to put on the red shorts and stand between them and watch the argument happen.
Are you gonna wear the shorts? Are you gonna do the short
Oh
shorts?
God, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because he said he literally, my favorite line. He goes, hey, keep the skates. I just like run around in shorts. I was like, yes.
Ooh,
Chills.
Like, I got chills.
That's one of my. That first of all, I love that scene. They came to Broadway.
Really
the
good.
Muppets came to Broadway, and I've been petitioning for the Muppets to be on Broadway for years. And
We all
that's a whole
have.
different subject. That's a whole different subject. But the fact that they're in New York twice in the same era is cool. So I'm very excited about that.
Great.
My apologies to your wife, by the way.
Oh yeah. No, it was Matt, I swear it was so funny because she just looked down at the email and she goes, oh, okay, yes, fine. Because she knows there's certain things she knows I'm not going to let go of. Mostly I was like, yes, baby, you're right. I will say no. She saw Muppet, she was like, God, duck.
And I'll add just my side of the story is that Matt had written to me, knowing that I'm a New Yorker, and Matt coming from LA, obviously Matt has a lot of great contacts here already, but he was like, if there's anyone I'm missing, anyone that I should be asking that you have access to. And the first person I thought of was you, because I know how big of a fan
Thank
you
you.
are, and also I have your email address, so I'm like, I know how to get in touch with him.
Sure.
But I gave Matt a short list of names, and I thought you'd appreciate knowing that he contacted you, but passed on Nick Walker.
Listen, Nick Walker and Fergie Phillip were so excited for me, but they were really kind of salty.
Yeah.
really salty. They were like, you're doing what? Wait, how did I? I'm like, listen, fellas, sometimes a Tony really does help.
Yeah. Although I think Fergie is out of town. I feel like Fergie is doing some show somewhere.
Fergie's out of town,
Yeah.
so he, because I know if there's anybody that's a tough sell that would go at me like Muppet for Muppet fact, it's Ferg. we did for Broadway Con, we did a panel about the Muppets, and I had a very fun. I have this tirade I put together about why Piggy is domestically abusive, and.
Go on.
And why? And I said, and why we don't talk about it. I have this whole joke of like, why don't we ever talk about this? We talk about what happened with Pepe Le Pew. We talk about Porky Pig wearing no pants. How come we don't talk about the fact that there is this poor frog who is literally is in a domestic violence relationship? But I also said I couldn't say that. To publicly, because sometimes you say a joke and then people take it way too seriously, and so I made it at the panel, but I didn't want to do anything. I mean, I'll do it here, but you have to preface it, because if you say things, everybody wants to cancel people now. And I'm like, we're not canceling Miss Piggy, but it is kind of funny that Miss Piggy, if you watch the show, she was in love with Christopher Reeves, she was in love with Sly Stallone, and Kermit got one woman. It was Linda Ronstadt, and Piggy locked him in a box. Piggy put Kermit in a box, locked him in a box for half of the show. The show's only 30 minutes long. And I was like, is that not abuse? Can we talk about this for a second? Can we just talk about how it doesn't go both ways? But it's just because she loves him dearly, But
it's a strange kind of love, but yeah.
That's how crazy Fergie and I was. We did this whole panel and just had a ball, talking about all these weird Muppet facts that nobody looks at.
Except all of us here. This is what we do.
Except all of us. We all know. Yeah,
this is why Fergie is one of us. We love Fergie dearly.
Yes, one of us.
He gets
Next
it.
time you do something, Matt, you need to call Fergie. He's another one, and he's one of the good ones. Trust me.
Yeah.
Great.
You could skip Nick Walker.
No, Nick Walker. Nick Walker. I have to shout him out. Nick Walker's one of the good ones too.
No, he is. I know. I joke. Well, James and Nick have a quote unquote rivalry that I'm playing into here. But Nick's also an old friend of mine. Nick and I we used to shop for comics together way back in the day. That was our we Yeah, right. It's so strange to me, like knowing someone and then they become famous. It's like, but that's just the guy that
Yes.
we went to see the movie Black Widow together, right? Like
Yeah.
that doesn't
Yeah.
fit for me. Um, anyway, so Nina, so one of my favorite scenes in Muppets Take Manhattan is when Miss Piggy is selling Quelle de France at Bergdorf Goodman with Joan Rivers, and
Yeah.
Joan Rivers, Matt. You tell me if I'm not allowed to say this. Joan Rivers in the script reading
No,
will be
please do. Please do.
great. Will be played by Lucy DeLuca, who was also a Drag Race alum. Uh, how do you feel about playing this iconic scene with Lucy DeLuca?
Well, I'm really, really excited because if you've seen Lucy on Drag Race and you've seen Lucy's impersonation of Joan Rivers, it is spot on, so good, and so remarkable. And so I think that it's going to be quite unhinged when you have two drag queens coming together to play two icons to the community, right? And Luduka is like. I mean, she couldn't have been more game and more fun and willing to do this. Matt had said to me, "Do you think she's going to do it?" And I was like, "I think you should ask her." I think you should. I don't know. I think you should ask her. And so Matt's the one who brought that home, and I think it's going to be a pretty momentous, fantastic moment for us to do live. And I mean, again, and then two drag queens who don't know. I mean, we're all about subtlety, right? So. I'm sure this is all going to be played really small and really main, and we'll be super contained. We'll keep it tight. It's not going to go off the page any, you know.
Oh,
No.
Not at all. Not at all.
Will there be real makeup in this scene? Like, are you actually gonna like start?
We really have to talk. We haven't talked about it yet, and we really have to because it's going to be tough. To,
How do I recover from that?
I know.
yes, that's the
but
issue.
if we did do it,
Oh,
I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe it's just movie magic, stage magic. We'll figure something out. It'll be a lot of
have
fun.
no doubt that it will be iconic, whatever it ends up being. But
It's gonna be
Yes.
fantastic.
Yes. Yes, I love Lucy. I think they're fantastic. I cannot wait to see them in this role. Snatch Game is like, for me, the best part of RuPaul. I love it when they do Snatch Game. I love seeing everyone's interpretations of these fun celebrities. And if I could, I would cast an entire movie just on their versions of these celebrities. Like if we did like one of the Muppet movies that had like a lot of like if we did, this is me rambling now.
Ramble,
if
do
we
it.
did a scene where it's like a bunch of okay, what if we did the scene from the Muppets with the telethon, but instead of the celebrities we had there, we just have every drag queen famous celebrity impersonations. Like that's the kind of thing that if I
Yeah.
had my druthers and I had like unlimited stage space, I would do full-throatedly. Yeah.
Except
be
you have
good.
to have Judd Hirsch there as himself, please, just for me.
And Judd Hirsch is yes.
Exactly.
Why is Judd Hirsch there?
Joe and I are huge Taxi fans, and so absolutely, if I had a moment with Judd Hirsch, I would take it. Yeah.
Judd Hirsch, America's most famous drag queen.
definitely. So true.
Would pay
Love a
so
RuPaul,
much
but
money.
Judd-
Ugh.
Do you think his stage name would be Jugs Hirsch?
Ooh.
Well, you get there.
It's there now. It's there now.
That pun, Judd Hurts. That was terrible. I'm gonna cut that joke.
Please do not. That
Keep it in a
belongs
double.
in belongs in veterinarian's hospital. That was exactly how it should be. You were right
Yeah.
on cue. Don't worry about a thing.
I'll edit in some groans after I said it.
Oh.
But no, but it's true. Like if
Oh.
I was not in the Muppet fandom, if I was not spending so much time on like Muppet podcasts, I would totally have a Taxi podcast. I would love to just talk about Taxi every week. No one would be on my show. No one would listen to it. But
That's not true.
that's all
That's
I
not
want.
true.
Are there still
I'll
Taxi
bet
fans?
Mary Lou would co-host with you.
Because she remembers
I'll
everything.
bet she would, and she would remember everything. It
Yeah.
would be a very fascinating podcast.
Yeah.
I
Oh my
would
God,
definitely
yes.
listen to it. Yeah.
That's true. I have a dream of meeting Mary Lou Henner someday, not just because I'm secretly in love with her, but because I feel like if I ever met her, then I would know that she will remember meeting me for the rest of her life. There's something really satisfying about that.
Yeah, yeah.
There's something about that show that always makes me laugh because I guess I think my history is correct. Christopher Lloyd did a pilot before Taxi, where he did pilot with Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks played it was like a odd couple type of show where Tom Hanks played the wild, crazy, drunk college guy, and Christopher Lloyd was the straight laced A student, and he was like just coming off of like theater school or whatever, and this character that he played was so different from what ended up happening, and then that pilot didn't work, and he auditioned for Taxi, got Taxi, and the character was so over the top of what Tom Hanks was doing, and it was so strongly embraced that for a while Christopher Lloyd couldn't get out of that character. But people thought that's how he really was. But literally, if that other TV show had worked, we would never have the persona that we know Christopher Lloyd for. He'd be more on the Tom Hanks persona of what we think of Tom Hanks. That was so weird because I saw this thing, and if you see that pilot or the trailer for the pilot, you're like, oh my God, that is Christopher Lloyd. Because the first time I ever saw him was Taxi, and it changed everything.
Wow.
So the one thing I mean, I don't want to actually anything because I have no idea. I have never heard anything about this pilot before. But there is an episode of Taxi where we see Reverend Jim's origin story, and this is why I would host the Taxi podcast, by the way, because it's all up here for no other reason than to do this right now. So we see his origin where he's in college and he plays like a very straight laced version of himself, which we had never seen on the show before. He'd always been that spacey character, and Tom Hanks is one of his like college buddies who's like a big stoner, and he is one of the people who introduces Reverend Jim to pot for the first time, which is how
then maybe it's that. Maybe that's what I saw.
Yeah. So
Because
it wasn't a pilot,
I
it
knew
was
that
an
there was
episode
some
of
of the
Taxi.
Okay. Watching Taxi. See,
All right, so what's everyone's favorite episode of Taxi? No, we don't need to do this. We have to get back on track here.
I took such a deep breath. I was ready for it.
I was like, okay, so the one I love. You said that we were about to go off topic, and then all of a sudden,
I did it.
You now made it.
That's
No,
on
I've
me.
been silent.
Uh-oh. Someone's getting a DVD set from me for Christmas.
Yes. No, thanks for clearing that up, Joe. I literally thought it was a different show. I was like, what the hell is this?
But here's the thing: is like you could totally see that happening, especially knowing where they all were in their careers at that time, and like Tom Hanks had already been on Family Ties, playing like kind of a silly drunk uncle character, and like that was on brand for both. Christopher Lloyd is coming off of One Flew Over a Cuckoo's Nest. Like he was playing serious roles. Tom Hanks was playing comedy roles. You would absolutely expect them to be that version of The Odd Couple. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, it's so weird.
And then Tom Hanks gets an Oscar for Philadelphia.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Two of them.
Two of them. Right. It's true. So
can I know you don't kill me, Joe. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Matt, how did you come up with this?
Oh, great question.
Like the original concepts, because I remember seeing them on online and was just like, whoa. So just me.
The backstory. So about maybe like a year and a half, 2 years ago, a good friend of mine named Patrick Cotner started up doing these Star Wars live readings. And he partnered up with the guys from the Star Wars Minute podcast. It's amazing performances. It's just really fun because he just takes the scripts as written and put them out there, and it's so much fun. And so Patrick and I are friends. I went to one of the readings, and afterwards we got lunch like a week later, and I said to him, you and I, we're both huge Muppet fans, and I think that this is such a fun idea and such a great idea. I think it would be really fun to do with them too. And he was like, yeah, no, that sounds so much fun. I was like, do you want to do it together with me? And he said, I am way too busy. I cannot do this. So I said, okay, great. So as long as it doesn't feel like I'm stealing an idea from anybody, and script reads have been around for decades, like everybody does them. So it's not like nobody's stealing from anybody. It's just a fun idea that people jump on. And so I was like, well, slam dunk, it's got to be Muppets. For me, especially, if I'm going to be the one working on this, it's going to be the Muppet movies. And I think there's so much gold in those scripts that kind of get overshadowed by the puppetry of it all. by the colorful characters and these weird situations. And so I wanted to see, almost like an experiment myself, if I got some of the funniest people I know, some of the best musicians I know, put them up on stage and put this up, would people recognize how great it is just as a written thing? And the big impetus for me was the fact that it was my own project and I could do whatever I want with it. And the first thing I thought was, it has to be for charity. It has to be that I'm giving back. It has to be that I'm creating a little bit more of community and helping out my community. Very unfortunately, as I was developing this, as I was kind of like cobbling the script together, we had the wildfires here in California that were late last year, early this year. Very, very devastating. Very many of my own personal friends lost their homes or their businesses or their communities. And so really wanted to give back. So it just all made sense to do it at that time. And at that place, that the Dynasty Typewriter, seriously the best place in LA for live theater and live comedy. They do so many great things, and they're always willing to do these crazy ideas. So it was really great to work with them, to have a really fun experience that gave back to people and that was embraced by the community. And we hit all three of those goals. And so that's why I'm still doing. Just want to do all these Muppet movies and beyond. Yeah.
That was just a fan question for me. Sorry.
No,
sorry.
it's a
Sorry,
great
Matt.
question. And Matt, since you're talking about it anyway, do you want to talk a little bit about what the charity is for Muppets Take Scripthattan?
Absolutely. Yes, we definitely should. So we are going to be sponsoring this time around Broadway Cares / Equity Fights AIDS. It's a wonderful organization, and it was actually Nina's idea to do it for this time around. As we were deciding to go to New York, I said, what's a really good like New York community charity? What's somebody that really does a lot for the community? And I've talked to some people at the organization now. We've had Zoom meetings. We'll probably have lunch or something when I'm in town. And they're just people who care so much about the community, about the people that are on Broadway, about the ways that we can make everyone happier, safer, healthier, all these wonderful, wonderful things. And so it was a no-brainer to do them. And so to have a show in New York City sponsoring a Broadway charity with a Broadway legend, James Monroe Iglehart himself, it is just fantastic.
Thanks.
James might not tell you this, but as we were negotiating whether or not he would be in the show, he was like, I'm going to be in Anne Juliet, which I'm so excited about. And I was like, okay, great. He's like, but I'm going to put it into my contract that we have this day off so that I can do your show. So my influence is in a Broadway contract right now. And that's crazy.
Negotiations came up and they were like, "Do you have any outs?" I was like, "Yes, October 24th, I will not be at work." So I told him, I said, this has to happen. You have to put this in my contract. I have to do this show. And yeah, and they were cool with it. I was like, great. Now that you've got that down, we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. I'm good.
So heartwarming. Thank you, James. Thank you.
It's the Muppet Rider in this contract.
Yes.
So Nina, we talked on this podcast to Mark Evan Jackson, and he obviously plays the Kermit to your Miss Piggy. He has some really lovely things to say about working with you. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to either return the favor or to be brutally honest and tell us about how much you hated working with him.
Hi, that was terrible, Miss Piggy. That was terrible. I was super, super nervous about our first pairing together, and I'll be honest with you because he's so good, and he is such he's a really great actor. He's so I knew going into the first script reading, I was like, this guy is legit. This guy is so incredibly good, and the second we met and the second he walked in the room, he immediately calmed all of my nerves by being also like an incredibly stand-up, kind, wonderful, warm person who just said, "Hey, let's go have fun," and he's incredibly sweet and giving and provides space because it is all improv, right? It's all yes and. Have this. We don't rehearse it. We're not like really. I have no idea what he's got planned in his head and what he's, and especially in the first one and for Muppet Movie, it was just like, all right, we had to trust each other, and I felt really safe in, in his company, being able to just play, but also do justice to this incredible script. And just that first experience, again, it was for the wildfires, but that first experience was really remarkable. I can remember everyone sitting around us on stage. And I think Matt and I talked about this recently too. And it was the fact that everyone kept saying, "Oh my God, this script is so good. The script is so good. The script is so good." I didn't realize how good the writing was. And Mark was just like, "Yeah, guys, this is a really great movie." And um, I can't say enough wonderful things about him. We've become friends, and he's connected me with, some other projects and charity work that mean a lot to him, and in turn he knew would mean a lot to me. And he's just a really good guy. He's a really good, wonderful person. And put that cherry on top of this wonderful professional cake of this guy is just so incredibly good at what he does. And I feel really lucky that, that Matt brought us together, because being a lot, again, I'm such a fan, like, of all of these people who do these things.
Yeah.
And I was just really grateful that Matt brought us together, because like he's introduced like a new, kind of like a new family member into my life, a new friend who's really been really vital and important since we've become friends earlier this year. And that's crazy to me, that something that starts as such a really wonderful concept and idea. We're all going to get together and we're all going to do this thing, and it's all going to be in the name of charity, and it's great and fun. And, oftentimes, I know James can speak to this too. It's like sometimes it's a one and done. It comes and goes, and you're like grateful to walk in the room and share the space with everybody. But then life happens and moves on, and you go do these other things. And I don't know if it's the magic of the Muppets. I don't know if it's the charisma and charm of Mark Evan Jackson. I don't know if it is just the universe, right? But this experience has been different, and it's been different with pretty much everybody who's had their hands in it, really. And that's pretty. I think that's kind of rare in an industry where that is so fast paced. And like James is a perfect example. He's going back into a show. You know what I mean? Like it's like 8 shows a week, and it doesn't stop. And you're part of a machine, and the joy of creating art is complicated, right? And so there's this wonderful pause here, and it's something like this where you get to go, "Oh, wow!" And these people are stand-up people, and they're really good people, and I think a lot of that has to do with the people, like the fans who are drawn to Muppets, I think, are all like wanting to be a frog, a bear, a chicken, a thing, and have a place to belong. And I think that's, and I talked about that a little bit on the last time we got together on Tough Pigs. But I think there's something unique and special about this property that does that. And I think Mark is the perfect Kermit, right? The perfect reason why we all get to come together and do it. He's just lovely. I can't say enough things about him.
And isn't that just perfectly Muppety, this idea of these very, very different people or characters that come together specifically to put on a show, and then, oops, now we're a family. Like,
I mean, that's it. I just gave a whole Muppet movie by talking about Margaret. I mean, but that is the point.
Yeah,
I had
right.
no intention. But like, yeah, you get this. It's bonkers to me. It really is bonkers, because you just go, like, I mean, like Paul Thompson, Bobby Moynihan, David Desmalchian. I mean, like, there's all these people who've had their hands in this. They're just good. They're good people. Like, they're just great, great people who really love this and really love the idea of having something and some place to belong to, and an idea of cultivating community, an idea of cultivating art and making it together. And I think that's the Muppets. I mean, that's Henson, that's Oz, that's what what we all fell in love with.
It's true.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. My whole entertainment philosophy, I may have said this on the pod before, but my whole entertainment philosophy is just I want to tell good stories with good people. That's it. That's all I want to do in my Hollywood career. And it sounds naive sometimes, but I've truly found through working, I spent 11 years at Disney. I spent about 6.5 years at Marvel Studios, and every place I've gone, it's the passionate people that really rise to the top. It's the people that are working on something that is so important to them for whatever reason, whether it's personal, whether it's something they grew up with, whether it's something they fell in love with at the right time of their lives. When you have that passion, everything else just kind of falls away. The hard work doesn't matter. The stress and the behind the scenes, anything that goes into it, it doesn't matter. And the people that really rise to the top in my mind, and the people that I invite back to more projects that I work on and do different things and keep in touch with, those are the people that are really putting in the work of performing well, but just being a good person. And I found some really, really great people to work with, and two of them are right here.
Well, that was a nice way to end that sentence. How lovely. Well, how the heck am I going to segue away from that to ask some question that isn't quite so sweet? I'll try it anyway.
In a Muppet way, just crash right into
Here
it.
we go. Yeah. No. All right. I'm loading myself into the cannon. All right. I'm shooting myself straight at you, James, because I want to loop back around to we were talking earlier about the Muppets coming to Broadway, which
Yeah.
is so exciting for so many
Yes.
reasons. And they're going to be in the Rob Lake Magic Show for like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
Is it killing you knowing that they're going to be like right down the street from you, and you don't get to be in the show with the Muppets on their Broadway debut?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
But here's the thing. I'm glad that it's happening finally. I'm glad that they're going to get their due on Broadway because they deserve it. Um, I am a huge, for those people that know that I am a huge Muppet fan, but I'm also a huge Magic fan. So if it's close up Magic or Illusions, I'm going. Penn and Teller are my favorite magicians, so I've seen their show twice. I'm that dude, I'm that black dude that comedians talk about when people do magic and then run away and go, "Oh my God!" I'm that dude. So I look forward to going over to that great theater and seeing the show. I've walked past it a couple times on my way to work, and I just look back and I look at the pictures of Kermit and Piggy, and I'm just like, I can't wait to see what they're going to do. Um, I have very strong connections to Disney theatrical.
just a little bit. You've met
DTD.
them before
So
once or twice.
so I've met them. So I heard some of the things that they're thinking of doing, and so I'm very excited to see it done. Um, Trust me, as far as being having FOMO, yes, I will get to sing with the Electric Mayhem before I leave this earth. I don't know
Oh,
how it's
for
going to
sure.
happen, but it
Yeah.
will. It will happen. And if I can make it be on Broadway, yes. But if not, it doesn't matter. They made it to Broadway, but I egotistically will get that chance. But I'm happy for what, like we talked about earlier about generations getting to see it. There's a new generation of people who will get to go to this show, who will not only get to see the magic, but also get to see the Muppets there and live. There's something about seeing them live on stage. I remember being in Disney World and they took it away. It was like Muppet history. It was like if you got there at like 9 o'clock or 12 o'clock, there was this moment where the Muppets came up and they would do like this crazy version of American history. And Miss Piggy was very upset that there was only like one woman they talked about, Betsy Ross, and she wanted to play somebody else. So she like leaves, comes back as one of the dudes, and like just like chops somebody, takes their character. And I was like, there was something about watching the Muppets live that you just don't get to see. It's one thing to see them on TV and on screen, but to get to see the actual material that's live is going to just have a great effect on Broadway. Sometimes you just need that. You just need that type of silliness and that type of joy. And I can't wait to see, how it's going to happen.
Yeah, the rumors, and I don't have any real intel on this, but the rumors are that it's because the Muppets are just playing a small role in Rob Lake's show, that this is kind of a test to see, like, okay, if the Muppets were gonna have their own Broadway show, like, how does it work on stage, and what else do we have to do? What do we have to add to it? Which tells me that they're thinking about, like, well, what would the Broadway show be? Maybe there's something
Well,
kind of in the
I
works.
won't. I can't talk too much about it, but it's that idea has been floating around for years, and it's
Sure.
really. It's a technical thing. It's a
Yep.
technical thing for those Muppet. There's a moment where like you say, "Oh, you're talking about the curtain." Most Muppet fans already know. We've dived so deep into it. We know how it works. The logistical situation of a Muppet show on Broadway. It's not the story. The scripts will be great, the comedy will be great, the music will be great. It's the logistical moment of the performers being up there. And like Nina said, Broadway's 8 shows a week. That is a thing. So let's see what happens here. Let's see what the fans do. And you never know. What I love about Broadway is technology keeps changing. Many years ago, Disney came out with Beauty and the Beast, and people were like, "Oh, look at that!" And then a couple years later, they came out with Lion King, and people went, "Holy crap, look at that!" And everyone's like, "When are you going to do Aladdin? When are you going to do Aladdin?" And I remember being told by one of the higher ups they had to wait till the technology could catch up to what they could do. And once
Interesting.
technology caught up, we have the magic carpet. People are still trying to figure out how it works. So I think as technology gets better and better, we will have more chances to be able to put these iconic characters in their own show in their own right, with them being the main star. And if this is that demo, then great.
Yeah. Well, and it seems to me, I mean, look, you're manifesting this idea of you singing with the Electric Mayhem, and I'm going to manifest it along with you
Oh,
because
hell yeah.
I feel like you being, like you said, like not only are you a huge Muppet fan and you're a huge Broadway star, and you just said you've got these great connections to Disney theatrical, and you're here, like you're ready to go. I feel like we should, like, everyone listening to this podcast should manifest this idea that when the Muppets, I'm not gonna say if, when the Muppets have their own Broadway show, that James Monroe Iglehart will be the human lead of that show.
I have, like I said, can't talk too much about it, but I do believe there's a way to do the Muppet Show on Broadway. It just takes a lot of work to put it together, and that you have to be real strategic, and like Matt said, just going through every single detail of how to make it work. That's the thing. Like, what I love about the Muppet Show is it looks so easy. It looks, because they were so good at what they did, it looks so flawless. That's the type of work we have to do to make that live 8 shows a week, or just be realistic. Maybe we can only do 6 shows a week and be humane to the performers. Give them 2 days off and let people come in and see the show. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I do believe there'll be a day when the Muppet Show will be there, and hopefully I'll be on the creative team, because I really want to be there with it. Me and Fergie have talked about this many times, and now I know Matt, so we're gonna really work on this.
Great. I'm telling you, we're doing it. We're gonna change Broadway. We're all gonna make this happen.
Oh yeah,
True.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, you came to the right guy. I am the person who invented carousel. That was me. So
Yeah, I knew that. I knew that was you.
yeah.
Matt Wilkie, the big Broadway producer. Wow.
Hey.
Yeah. Oh, should we do a whispering campaign? Is that next?
Yes. Let me tell you. Have you guys? Okay, Matt. You've been to Sardi's and seen the picture, right?
Yes, I have. Yes.
There's something about when people walk into Sardi's. There's all these pictures of all these different stars and Broadway stars, but you can always tell that person. There's a look on their face where they go into the restaurant looking for Kermit's picture. And I remember the first time I went looking for it. I took a picture with it. And every time I go into Sardi's, I no disrespect to any of them. I walk past Sammy Davis. I walk past, Whoopi Goldberg, who I love. She's been wonderful to me. But I always go right to the Kermit one. And they have it in the most amazing space. You have to go upstairs, and it's right as you get upstairs, it's right there, because everybody's looking for it. It's such an iconic moment for that restaurant. And the fact that picture's still there, but it's as him. It's not just Kermit, it's him as the producer. Still one of the best things ever.
I'm gonna give everybody on the podcast a little sneak preview of something for the show. And because it's audio only, nobody else can see this. But our good friend Kenny Durkin created a Sardi's version of Mark Evan Jackson.
Oh my God. Wow.
That's so good.
That looks so good.
So that will be blown up and on the show.
Yeah, that is so good.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a great idea.
I'm
What a
going
fantastic idea.
listen, I'm the first guy who says whole hog is the way to go. I'm going to give you guys a secret for the show. And this is just for the listeners. And then I'm going to ask you a question, and we're all going to decide together what's funnier. Okay. So as the tale goes, Frank Oz, in his directorial duties, decided, I want to create a little ambiguity in the Muppet community, and I'm going to hire a real ordained minister for this scene where Kermit and Piggy get married. We are going to have a real ordained pastor from a local Brooklyn church playing that role. And I'm gonna like have like a little like a cartoon Wile E. Coyote sign that says, "This is a real pastor." And I want to know if we should tell Mark before the show or if we should surprise Mark at the show.
Well,
Oh,
I'm
that's
No.
such a good question.
Surprise! No, look, in the movie, Kermit did not know. He said, "Piggy, I thought Gonzo was going to play the minister." She goes, "Ha ha ha ha!" Don't tell Mark. Don't tell Mark
Okay.
anything, because
That's one word, don't tell Mark.
the only person who should know is Piggy, and she's sitting right there.
It's true.
I would feel. I mean, it's ooh, wow. Um,
Not how Nina feels. How does Piggy feel?
what an Easter egg, Matt. Wow. Hmm. Let's go with it. Let's roll these dice and see what happens.
Okay, so whether or not Mark listens to this podcast is up in the air.
Right.
But if he doesn't, we will be surprising him on the night.
That is
That
so
is
good. I won't say a
incredible.
word. That
Okay.
is so great.
Oh, that's
It-
really funny.
Now, what's funny too is I actually had this question in my notes that I was going to ask if you were going to hire a real minister for that scene. But then the question is, after that, does that mean that Nina and Mark will be married in real life?
I was thinking the same thing.
That's the speculation. That's how we pay homage to Frank's
It goes
idea.
into the Muppet verse. So I guess you wanted to know how I really felt about Mark. Well,
Right, yeah.
Well, and then this also like sub question: are Jim Henson and Frank Oz married because they went through this scene? Like, or are their hands?
Their
married?
hands are married.
Their
Their
hands
hands
are
are
married. Okay.
married. Their hands are married.
I didn't know you could have hand marriage. That makes a lot of sense.
Oh, yeah.
I think this is hysterical. I absolutely think that you should do this. And what's funny is like I would think like as a performer, you don't necessarily want to be surprised by things because like things are planned and you do have like things that you want to do. But not only is this, as Nina said, is going to be so much. It's going to have so much improv. But Mark is such a brilliant improv actor. I would love to see. I will love to see how he reacts to it and then what he does with that information. Oh, that's gonna be good. All right, well, we're coming down close to the wire here, so I have one more question I want to ask each of you, and that is, just thinking blank slate, pie in the sky. You know, you are, performing as Muppets in this homage, but not with the Muppets. So, what is if you get to work on a project with the Muppets? What is your dream project? I know that's tough. I feel like James, I may have asked you this in our previous, and you said I won't tell you because I actually want to do it. I don't want to reveal it here.
Well, no, I'll say it now. The Muppet Show.
Yeah.
The Muppet Show live is what I would always want to do. I think there's something magical about that show. And yes, it's only 22 minutes, but there is a way to create I believe, a 90-minute no intermission show on Broadway that could work. Or at least, and you know what? Here's the thing. Also, sometimes we get hung up on Broadway. And I actually, it was funny. Nick Walker and I were talking about this. Performers get so hung up on Broadway, we forget that theater can be anywhere. It doesn't actually have to be on the block of Broadway. It could be in Los Angeles. It could be in Chicago. It could be anywhere. And if we could create a situation that we have a space, a place, and people who are down to do it and do it right, we could create the Muppet Show. And I think it's a fun. That is my dream. I have so many dreams, but as far as like that, people always say, reach for the moon if you grab a star. Great. My moon dream is the Muppet Show. Something about doing it live and having the performers there, the Muppets, and having a guest star, whether that weekly or monthly or whatever. I think that's what I would always want to do. So until I take my last breath, I'll be reaching for that.
Yeah, we know it would work because we saw them do it with Muppets Take the Bowl, Muppets Take the O2. Like it's a 90-minute. Like we are doing the Muppet Show on stage live for you. It doesn't matter if the characters are this tiny when you're in the back seat. Like you're still gonna eat it up. The music's still great. The comedy's still great. The puppetry is still great. Like it'll work. It's just a matter of someone saying yes, let's do it.
and because it is a, I'll say Broadway-esque, type of
Yeah.
thing, you want
Mhm.
the one thing that the Muppet Show had was like a quick through storyline, but there is a way to write a through storyline for the show and to give the people what they've seen, but also give them something new. The one thing, if you're going to do a live show, you want to give the people something they've never seen before. I always feel like with the Disney shows, like you can go watch the movie, and if you're going to pay a certain amount of money when you come see it on Broadway or come see it live, you want to give them something different. So there is a way to conquer both situations, to give them what they know and they love, but give them something new so they'd make them want to go out and spend their hard-earned money to check out this version of the show. So what's my moon? That.
That's it. We're manifesting it. It's gonna happen.
Oh yeah,
Nina, how
someday it
about
will
you?
happen. Trust me.
It's funny because it's a question I have thought about. I mean, no joke. I think Pie in the Sky dream, I think, with the Muppets would be to be a purveyor and a shepherd, and someone who gets to have the opportunity to work with them on a more, I think, on a more collaborative basis where, I come on and, whether it's working in the writer's room or being a part of the magic that creates it all, that would be a dream. Those Muppeteers, they're all just magic, and I like there's just a magic that's around them, and in turn that they get to carry into those characters. And I mean, that's like pie in the sky. I've been writing these little shorts that I thought would be really fun to do with like Howard the Pig is one of my very favorites. I'm
Really?
obsessed with Howard the Pig.
Oh,
I love,
we might talk more about this later. Howard is a very
I love, like,
a divisive character.
I love it. He's just so ridiculous. And Uncle Deadly, he's more of these little, like queer coded kind of, it's
Yeah.
like
Gotta type.
yeah, but I've been writing these silly shorts. And I was like, oh, if I had the opportunity, like maybe like one day Nina would have this opportunity to do this, or interact with them in like kind of this weird Muppety way. But those are like two that I would be like, oh, that would be really, really fun. But I think like kind of like James. I mean, I mean, when we were kids, this was like, I mean, I feel like that's the language James and I have. It's like, I mean, I know what it meant to me when I was a kid and like what it could mean to someone a lot like me,
Yeah.
if they were to have that experience and just to like, just seeing this magic unfold. And it's like, so just being a part of it. I think I just want to be part of it. I think it's like this is a wonderful extension of that. And so like the dream is just to continue to be doing and creating magic to be part of it. Because I think that's really it's so this is really cool that I get to be part of this Muppet Scripthattan and previous to, and I get to, like now I get to work with James in a professional way and get to know James even more, and like all these people who will be in the New York cast. I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's like pie in the sky.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, and again, like we're putting on a show, and then oops, we're a family. Like that's like
Yeah.
what a dream. Just just being a part of that. I love that idea.
Yeah.
Matt, can you please remind us if you want to watch this show, how do we get to watch it? How do we get to see the live stream?
Yes. So our show is going to be performed live at the Bell House in Brooklyn on Friday, October 24th at 7:30 p.m. local time. It is unfortunately sold out in person, which is great for us, but sad for some people I know. But luckily, we have our live stream, which we always do. This time, our live stream is going to be done by the Dynasty Typewriter folks through the website Veeps, Veeps. So you can check out Veeps for your tickets. Just search Muppets Take Scripthattan. If Scripthattan is too confusing to spell, you can just type Muppets and I think we'll come up.
Great. Thank you for that. Nina, can you please tell us, is there any place you want folks to find you on social media or anything that you want to promote right now?
Yeah, you can find me at ninawest.com, and we have a fantastic brand new movie coming out on the day of our event, October 24th, Queens of the Dead, Tina Romero's Queens of the Dead. It's a zom-com, giant zombie film that actually Matt Wilkie saw last night here in.
I did. It is so good, you guys. It's so funny. It's so like Romero evolved in this really fun way. Like if you love the old Romero movies, and I'm a huge horror fan. I love horror stuff. I love horror comedy, especially, which is very hard to pull off. This movie is so funny. It's got a great message. It's incredibly queer joy throughout the whole thing, and Nina just kills it. I mean, she is fantastic in the movie, and I'm not just saying that because they're here. My wife and I, we had such a fun time last night watching the movie. So check it out.
Thanks. Yeah, we're playing. Yeah, we open October 24th in theaters across the country. You can find out more about it by just Googling Queens of the Dead, Tina Romero's Queens of the Dead. Yeah.
Oh,
So, yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
I'm absolutely going to check that out. That sounds amazing. Great.
Hey.
James, same question. Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you working on right now?
Right now, you can find me on my Instagram at JM Iglehart, but you can see me at the Stephen Sondheim Theater as Lance Dubois and Anne Juliet. And for your little kids, they can see me on Disney Junior as Mr. Puppy Paws and Super Kitties, or they can see me on Disney XD as Martin, the dad of Kif from Disney's Kif. So that's where you. Or if you're an adult and you really just like inappropriate humor, go to Amazon.com and you can see me as Osmodeus, the Demon of Lust in Hell of a Boss, or Zestial in Hazbin Hotel. So
Yeah,
he stays busy.
I try, baby. I try.
That career.
I see now why your wife is like, you got to say no to some things.
Yes. No.
Nina, Matt, and James, thank you all so much for being here. What a joy. I cannot wait to see the show. And honestly, it's just always such a joy to get to geek out about Muppets with each of you. So thank you again for being here.
But
Thank you.